Hey, Counterfits. Ryan and Dan here. Talk about some toxicity in the kitchen.
And future Dan is here as well. Since those two idiots don't know how to make a cohesive argument on the fly, I'm here to organize it. So when we say toxicity in the kitchen, we're talking about chefs who yell at their staff all the time and coworkers who are always talking shit. Hey, thanks. I wanted to talk about this because in the last video we did, Ryan's story about the girl who got yelled at by the chef. When I was editing it, I was kind of worried. I was like, are people going to think like we're making fun of her? But it was more so that like we've all been in a situation where there's a chef who just like will just rip into you when you mess up, and you're on the side, and when he's ripping into someone else, you're just like, oh, I'm glad that's not me. And apparently, he's mad today. I gotta make sure I don't mess up.
Head low.
Yeah, and then you'll be like, dude, just do it. Like, do a good job. You know,
Yeah.
like you're rooting for the guy to not piss him off, basically.
Don't make it worse.
Ultimately, we never really speak up for those being yelled at. And actually, one of you commented on our last video saying that we need to stop normalizing the abuse in the food industry, and that kind of just resonated with us. However, unlike us, this person actually stood up for someone they saw was being yelled at, which that's pretty rare, honestly, in this industry. So why is it that this attitude is so common and accepted? I think a lot of it comes from, first, like the place is kind of treated like militaristically, you know? Like we even literally call it a kitchen brigade.
Yeah.
And then so like it's kind of the same thing where they're like, well, if I break you down in training, you know, when you're on the field, you won't break down as easily. Because you'll break down on some nights. Oof. When it gets rough, I've broken down like at least 6 times, I feel like. Where I just like, I went to the walk-in and I was just like, I'm overwhelmed.
You know what? You're right though. And working with those people that have broken down before, so they're not there again, I kind of see where it happens. That's why the chef is like, I'm going to do it to you now, so that later on the line, when I need you there, you're going to be there.
Yeah.
So I get it, but it's rough.
Yeah, it is rough. Because I feel like there has to be some kind of balance, you know?
I believe in balance.
Because, yeah, if you're just one of those people who just yells to yell at every single little thing, then I feel like it's going to be more demotivational than anything.
Yeah, honestly, if you're constantly yelling, I stop paying attention as much.
Yeah. I remember especially like when I was trying to learn things, and like not just the chef, like everyone in the kitchen makes fun of you when you mess up. And I remember like I was already mad because I had a lot of stuff to prep that day. Mm. And then the chef had me practicing on butchering salmon, which I've done before, but I'm not great at. And then
I'm a baker. I'm not.
You need a good knife and you need good technique. And technique is not something you can learn about. It's really all muscle memory.
Yeah.
And I remember I was just struggling. I'm trying to remember it. And then there's like 3 people, other cooks, doing nothing but watching me. And they're just standing over me and like, they're just saying to me like, oh my God, that poor fish, what did it ever do to you? And stuff like that. And just like, I got so mad. I was like, fine. I just threw my knife down and I just walked away. I was like, what do you guys do with it? And it's like, I genuinely wanted to learn. Like, I really wanted to like better myself and like improve on it. And I think that was one of those points where you didn't need to be that aggressive or toxic or whatever.
Give them a few fishes before you fail.
Yeah. Like, I mean, if it was something like, okay, this guy's been cooking for like 20 years. Why doesn't he know how to cook, like butcher a fish? Versus this was like my 3rd year. Mm-hmm. I've only worked like pantry to this point. And I'm like,
where most people start. It's understandable.
Yeah. And I'm just like, why are you guys, you're killing the passion early, you know?
I think it's also society. You know, you see Ramsay yelling at people on his show, and that's like his main thing, and that sells the show.
That's true.
But I heard of someone who met him, said he was a good guy. But then again, he wasn't cooking for him, so.
Yeah, I mean, he seems nice. Like when you see him on his shows where he's not, calling people idiots.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Seems like
I think that's the sell point of the show.
Yeah.
Is laying into people. And yes, probably because it was in an industry that's already known for it, but he perpetuates that by going with it,
For sure. On top of it all, kitchens are a male-dominated profession. So there tends to be a lot of bravado and ego and locker room talk, which I admit I participated in before, but it's definitely an atmosphere that's uncomfortable for many people. And if your response to that is just, hey, we're weeding out the weak, just a reminder, there still is a shortage of workers in this field. It's almost like no one wants to accept a job where the pay is low and they're abused. What do you think an ideal chef running their kitchen is like? Because I've worked for chefs that yell at you like over every little mistake. I've worked with chefs who are also too passive. Like I had a chef who, if he had an issue, he would bring it up in like group meetings. And I remember like one of them was like using cell phones in the kitchen. And so like we had a meeting one of the days and he's like, oh, I got these notes. And then one was like, oh, reminder guys, no cell phones in the kitchen. And you know what people did? Still use their cell phones. Versus if you see someone like on their phone, like you say, hey, get off your phone. Like right then and there.
He stops it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to compare to dogs, but like if a dog pees on the carpet, you don't tell them 4 days later, like, hey, don't pee on the carpet. You tell them right then and there, kind of thing.
Yeah. See, my first chef, he was great.
Mm-hmm.
He took me under his wing. I mean, I was young, so he wanted to teach me stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the owner of the place, and the chef he had under him was the yeller.
Oh.
So he was, when the owner was there, he was great, helped me out, worked through problems. I don't think he ever yelled at me. He may have been frustrated, but I don't even think it got to that point. He was a great guy. So I had a balance from the beginning. So maybe a balance is what you need.
So our intention of this video was to actually make a cohesive point on toxicity in the workplace. Is it appropriate? Is it not? And I feel like we did not accomplish that. We made some points for sure. We didn't bring them to any singular point, but
we speckled a canvas. That's all we did.
Yeah. Don't worry, me. I think I fixed it. But yeah, it was a mess. You should tell us your point in the comments, and
it'll add to this randomness.
Yeah.
Bye, counterfeits.
That's it.
What else do they need?
Bye. Sure. We'll leave it like that. It's really awkward.
Just like our video.
Yep.
Good night.